Okay, well, I just want to welcome you guys to Star Citizen. This is going to be an epic game, and yeah, I thought I'd do a tutorial series on this game and see if people like it. And yeah, so this is the main screen for the persistent universe at the moment. So the persistent universe is going to be the um, PvP sort of open world where you can do anything and be anything you want. So you can be a trader, or you can be a bounty hunter, you can be a miner. They've got a wide range of professions you can choose. There's exploration and be a police officer. You can be a pirate. You can raid other players and steal their cargo and all sorts of cool things like that. So I thought I'd just start doing a tutorial series and sort of see how it goes. So the universe is the open world part of the game, and when you start a game you've got to create your own character. So there's not a great deal of choice with the faces at the moment. This is just the alpha release of the game. There's not a great deal of choice here, so I think they've got you can choose your face, your skin tone, your hairstyle, hair color and eye color at the moment, but they're going to have full VoIP, which is voice over IP. They're also going to have FOIP, which is face over. So if you own a webcam, you can scan your own face into the games, which is one of the pretty cool things. And so you'd be talking to someone through the VoIP, which is a voiceover, and you can have your actual face in the game. So that's really quite unique for a new game. There's a lot of games out, I know, where you can scan your face into the game, but this will be like you're actually in the game as yourself. So yeah, it's still not a very wide variety of choices here, but so hairstyle. We've got shaved, which is you can rotate your character with the holding the left mouse button down to sort of see what that looks like. That's a mohawk. That's quite cool. At the moment, if you've got a mohawk and you've got a helmet on, the mohawk actually clips through the helmet, which kind of looks cool. Kind of looks like you've got a furry helmet, like sort of something from the Roman era or something. But yeah, they're going to fix that. It's just a clipping issue. Caesar, what's that? That's a very boring hairstyle. The straight Caesar, full mohawk. The Ricky, the fringe up. Let's go with the punk cut, eh? Just go with the punk cut. And hair colour, we've got light grey, grey, black, medium blonde, blonde, light blonde, dark blonde, light blonde and brown. Just go with brown, I think. And eye colour, not a great deal to choose from still. That looks really creepy. You have that, kind of looks like alien eyes almost. Crimson. What's that, black eyes? Let's go with hazel. Okay, and you accept, and are you sure you want to save these changes to your character? Yep, let's just save that. So this is the main menu when you get into the game. So you got your hangars, which you can go to view your ships and all that sort of stuff. Just go into Crusader, and you got regions to choose from too. So USA, Europe and Australia, I think, but depending on what region of the world you're in. Okay, so this is the starting zone where you start the game. You start in a bunk at Port Olisar, which is the main spaceport in the game at the moment. So you start lying down, so just to move forward you just got to press the W, S, A and D keys. So just press the W just to start moving forward to start exiting the bunk. This is your HAB, your starting HAB. So they are going to have free habitats in the games, so you'll be able to, but they're also going to have paid ones too, where you can have a hotel room or something and some sort of swish looking thing. So there's not much to do other than get back into the habitat in here. So we're going to go over to the door here and we're going to open it. Now to open the door you have to hold F, which brings up this little icon in the center of your screen here, the little circle. You just got to hover it over the door. So basically the F key interacts with everything in this game.
Hi, welcome to the store.
So you just open the door like that, press left click. It's not the best. Going down the stairs here, we'll get to the central room down here, which is the main area where you come to spawn your ship. A few variants might be a little bit different. So this is the main room where you can spawn your ship. It's quite cool, you know, with the map of the system. So there's a Moby Glass, like a sort of like a interactive menu you can use in this game too. You press F1 to bring it up, and it's like a little almost like a little Fitbit down here that pops up on the screen with all your stats and all sorts of things. It tells you what your personal details are, your name, your vitals, your external atmosphere, so pressure and all that sort of stuff, the suit oxygen or suit status and how much oxygen and stuff you've got left. So it hasn't been implemented yet, but it's going to be important when you're EVAing and stuff, like trying to fly out to wrecks and, you know, salvage and all that sort of stuff. So you need to keep an eye on your oxygen remaining. So if we go to the map screen, you can see that so this is the system we're in at the moment, and we're here at Port Olisar, which is orbiting Crusader, which is the main gas giant in the system. So these are all the places you can go to at the moment, and there is an outer ring out here. So this is the main, so you can go to Delamar here, which is on the outer ring, and then there's Yella, another moon, and Daymar. There's Cellin over here too, which is another moon. And yeah, there's all sorts of things you can go to. Comms arrays, we can go to repair them. There's certain missions in the game at the moment you can launch and experience. Comms arrays. There's a Cryastro service, which is kind of like a space service station, like where you might go to refuel and stuff. So it's quite cool. Refuel and rearm and repair. So just like a real service station, or, you know, services where you take a car to, you know, get more petrol and stuff. So there's not a great deal to go to at the moment, but they're going to add more systems. So it's just one system to go to at the moment. We'll just close the Moby Glass for the moment. So to close the Moby Glass, you just got to press F1 again. So whatever ship you buy will appear here. I'm just going to, and when you want to spawn your ship, you just go to retrieve. Say your ship is destroyed, or, you know, blew up because you crash landed, or destroyed by another player or an AI. It'll say destroyed over here, and basically you just got to claim the ship back. Retrieve our ship. Just click on the little retrieve button.
Ship has been delivered to the following landing pad.
And they'll tell you what pad you're going to be on. So there's 4 struts in this space station, A, B, C and D. And so every strut has about 8 or 8 or 9 landing pads, so we're on strut D. Spawn on A strut, so you spawn on A strut or you spawn on C strut, you know, etc. Depends on where they want to spawn you in the game. So, okay, so you just got to back away from the screen and just by pressing the S key. And now we've just got to look around the map, and there's our ship over there. So a little compass marker on the screen, so you know where you're going. It's basically got to follow you've got to follow some of the signs. So landing pad strut D this way, and landing pad strut D. There's shops in this game too at the moment, so there's
Thanks.
clothing shop
Come again
here.
soon.
You can come and try on some of the
Hi, welcome to the store.
clothing. Some of the AI haven't got a lot to say at the moment, so landing pad strut D. Okay, so you've got to cycle through an airlock to get out to the landing pads, which just open. Sometimes you've got to actually interact with the button if they're cycled on the space side, but most of the time they're cycled on the station side. So press the cycle button here, and you just cycle the airlock so you can get out in the atmosphere of the space. So here we are out in space, out in the outside of the space station, and it's a massive space station, as you can see. You can press F4 to get an external camera as well, like a third-person camera. So this is the space station, and you can just see how massive it is compared to me, standing here. I guess that's the I'm not sure what they are, just like little. There's 2 rings that orbit around the. Oh, look, there's a ship that went past us. There's 2 rings that orbit around. So one goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise. I'm guessing that's just to keep. Oh, there's 3 actually. Okay. Well, that was only 2. And they just circle around clockwise and anti-clockwise. I'm guessing that's just to keep the station in orbit. But there's that ship again. That's quite cool. It's just flying around. So that's another player. Just flying his ship around. Okay, so we'll go back into the area over here. I'll just go back into first person mode. And we'll go and get into our ship. So you just got to follow the little compass mark. So we'll go up this way. Up here. Here's our ship spawned on the landing pad. So to interact with our ship, all the ships are a little bit different to enter and exit. This is most of the ships you'll come to will have a little cockpit entry at the front here, but this doesn't. This is like a freighter sort of trader sort of ship, so which I've purchased. It's the Drake Cutlass. It's a multi-purpose sort of ship, so it's pretty good in all roles, pretty good in as being a freighter, for freighting cargo to and fro. It's also pretty good at offense, so it's pretty good little fighter. And yeah, so it's best of both worlds, a trader fighter, so a bit of a sort of a multi-purpose sort of ship. So got to hold your F key down again and interact with the door to open it. It's pretty cool. With the other ramp that closes, and you just look at the door again to close it. It closes on the inside of the ship. Okay, so this is the inside of the cargo hold. There's a torch as well. Some of the areas you get to are really dark, and you'll have to use your torch to interact and see things. So torch is T on the keyboard. It's pretty cool. I think they're going to have to make it a little bit brighter, because it's not bright enough at the moment, I don't think. I don't feel. Okay, so we've got a couple of side doors here too, which you can interact with and open. So see them up in the ships. Okay, let's just close that. You've also got the lock option there, which your ship's automatically locked when you get into it. So it's your choice whether you unlock it or not. For other players getting in, or there is missions as well to transport players from point A to point B, and some of the players will just pay you some credits for that. So just need to interact with your pilot seat. Just got to hold the F key and look at the seat and left click. Okay, now, So starting the ship up. You can actually look down here and turn the engine on with your interact key. So holding F down and looking down to turn the engine on, engine off. And so flight ready. Flight ready basically just gets the ship ready to fly, so you don't have to turn the power on, you don't have to turn the engines on, but it's cool turning all these things on at once, like, you know, for yourself. So you turn the engines on, and let's turn the power on, and just let go of the F key. So there you go, your engines and your power on. So takeoff and landing, it's probably one of the most difficult parts. Well, it's probably the easy part of the game. The landing's probably the more difficult part of the game. So if I go into the options, I can show you guys what controls I've got set up for I think I have turned my sensitivity down a little bit so that it's just easier to control the ship, because yeah, so here's the mouse sensitivity of so you can put all these up and down, you know, depending on what you want, what you feel comfortable with. I think pretty sure when you start the game it starts at 1, like 1%, or whatever this figure is. I've taken my flight down a little bit so that it's a little bit slower moving, so you can it doesn't flick around the screen all the time, so it's just a little bit easier to, and you can do overall sensitivity and it changes every one of them, or you can do individuals, you know, so if you want your pitch or your yaw to be a little bit more than your view or your turret aim, or, you know, so, or your flight movement to be a little bit more than your pitch and yaw, or your flight, you know, your pitch and yaw to be less. It's up to you. This is what I've just set up because it's just a little bit more easier to start with. So just go back and return to game. Okay, so takeoffs. So takeoffs with keyboard and mouse, you just press and hold the spacebar basically. So just press the spacebar and you go up. So we've exited off the landing pad, and we're still going up just by holding the spacebar down. Okay, so we've gotten to a safe distance where we're away from the pad, and just let go of the space. Okay. Press N once you've taken off from the platform, and you retract your gear. So this is the external camera of the ship. So you can see how big this space station is too. It's quite large. So I accidentally turned my power off then when I was flicking to the external camera. So yeah, so the landing gear up, you can't see it down anymore. If you just want to put the landing gear down, you press N again on the keyboard, and it raises the gear, or it deploys the gear, and then N again just brings it up. So for flight mode. When you've got the gear down, the ship is much slower, so I think it's 50 meters a second is the maximum speed, whereas when it's up, you can fly a lot quicker, you're a bit more mobile, but it's also a little bit easier to crash and a little bit easier to get yourself into trouble. So a lot of the time when I'm landing, I'll put my gear down and just sort of coast in really slow. It's one of the easiest ways to get an easy sort of land. We'll just jet away from the space station a little bit, and then we might ask for another landing permission so we can talk about the landing. Okay, so let's just power down our engines and come to a complete stop. Okay, let's just turn towards the station. So landing permissions. So you need to ask for landing permissions when you're coming into stations. Otherwise you'll get a crime stat rating. It's basically like parking a car in a paid parking area and not paying. So, but there's no cost involved in this. It's just you need to ask for permissions before landing. Raise ourselves up a little bit so we can see the pads. Okay, so what we're going to do now is press F1 to bring up our Mobiglass, which is our little Fitbit if you're so inclined, and you press this first box down here, down the bottom left hand side of the screen. That's the comms link button. You can, so these are other players that are in the area. This guy's flying around somewhere about 2,000 meters away. So Port Olisar landing service, that's 1,500 meters in front of us. So all you got to do is just pick this little Wi-Fi box here and just click on that, and you just start hailing the landing
Please
zone.
proceed to assigned landing bay.
Okay, so they've just given us a landing bay, so you just press F1 again to close our little Mobiglass. And you can already see down there that I've got a little arrow with the triangle pointing downwards with a line attached to it, so that's my landing pad. And I think if my landing gear is out, no it's not. So once the landing gear is out, you can actually see the pad light up. So it shouldn't light up until you put your landing gear out. Let's just fly towards that. Now you can see my thrust here is at 100%, but it's only going at 50 meters a second here. So if I was to take that off, which I'll demonstrate after we've landed here, and I'll take off again, it goes up much higher. Level out here a little bit. Now I always like to go into the external camera because it's a little bit easier to land at the moment. And I'll just tilt it back up a little bit. So landing, sort of slowly come in. So it's W and S to accelerate and decelerate. So just like a normal driving or flying game, so the W, S, A and D keys. And the control, so lowers your position. So spacebar raises you and control lowers you. So you can see it's a little bit jumpy at the moment. Okay, we're sort of just strolling in here, just sidling in just really slowly, and we've come to a complete stop. Okay,
Landing complete.
so he
Doesn't
says,
say.
that's the landing officer who says landing complete. Okay, so now I will take off again and I'll show you the difference between the speeds. This is with the landing gear out, so at 100% throttle and 50 meters a second. So if I raise the landing gear by pressing N, you can see that throttle, that speed
Landing gear up.
really accelerate to 220, and you can see we're going much faster away from the station. So we've just left the armistice zone, which means we're open to players shooting us if they like. So I'll just go back into the armistice zone, just so we don't get people shooting at us. Okay, so that's the first lesson I sort of wanted to explore, was the takeoff, landing and the speeds. So you can throttle yourself up and down with the W and S key. So you can see my throttle's going up and down. So at 50% throttle, I currently have a 111 meters a second speed. And if I go to full throttle, 220 is the maximum throttle for this ship, like the maximum speed for the ship, while you're not boosting, like when you're not afterburning. Afterburning is shift key, and if you press and hold the shift, you can see your speed greatly raise. And the top speed on this ship is 1113, I think. So we'll just hold this until we get to 1113, how far we've gotten away from the station. So 100% throttle. I think I just lowered the throttle there for a sec. So we're up to 600. And you can see how fast we are getting away from the station. Its station is like flying away from us really quickly. And there's the afterburners going in the background there, or going in the foreground. Looks really cool, the engines. Okay, let's go back into the cockpit view. Okay, so we haven't reached the top speed yet, but we will reach the top speed rather shortly. There we go, we've just clocked out the top speed. So once you reach the top speed, you can let go of the shift, and as long as you don't move, you will stay at that speed. But the minute you move to the left or right, your ship will slow down. So, and sometimes, see how the screen's going blurry there? It's because I'm turning at such a speed that the G-forces are affecting my character, which is really cool. It's one of these cool little features they've included in the game. So now I've got to try and find this space station again, which I've just lost. Should be orbiting the planet. What I'll do is just go into the Moby glass and select the destination tab, which is the one there, and I will go. We'll go and fly to Cryastro service actually. So we'll go and fly to Cryastro service, set as destination. So setting a you just basically got to pick something on the map with the so you can select the planet and go set as destination. It'll take you to the planet. We can set this. So we'll set that, set as destination. Press F1 again to come out of our Moby glass, and you should get a little arrow on the screen that points you in the right direction where you need to go. So that's the Cryastro service. It says it's 36,739 kilometers away. Now, were we to fly out to that at full speed, full afterburn, it'd probably take a while. As you can see, the distance is going down, but it's going down very slowly. So what we've got in this game is called quantum jump. So a quantum jump is basically getting to that point really quickly. And to activate that, you just got to line yourself up with the beacon that you've set over here, and just press and hold B, and your quantum drive will spool up, and then you'll jump towards this thing much quicker. This is the only way to travel in this game, I have to say. Okay, so here we go. We've come to the Cryastro service, and we're just going to have to slow down here. So, I don't exactly know which side the pads are on. Pads are on probably the other side of these solar panels. So you can see it's quite a big station. Where you'd come to refuel, rearm, repair. I am upside down, so I'm just going to have to point towards the station, and so barrel rolling. So you can barrel roll with the Q and E. So this is where you turn your ship that way or turn your ship this way, and you can line yourself up depending on if you're upside down or not for landings. And there is also the A and the D key, so WSA D key. So W and S forward and 0 momentum. So forward W, 0 lowers your speed at S. The A and the D, so they strafe left and right depending on which one you press. So the A is left strafe, the D is right strafe. So you can see me going left and right on the screen here. Okay, so what we want to do is go towards this station, and not too fast. I think a lot of these service stations you can just land as long as there's a pad that's free. Basically, I'll just go into external camera just to get myself lined up. Bring my landing gear down. And we'll get in for a touchdown here. Well, okay, so when you get onto the pad, you'll get these options come up. So repair, restock your armaments. So repair is basically just repair your damage to your ship. You may have suffered, you may have hit an asteroid or been attacked by another player. You can repair, it'll repair it. So restocking is restocking ammunition and missiles. refuel. So refuel hydrogen and refuel quantum. So hydrogen is the fuel that you use with afterburners. So the afterburn does run out. So it's used sparingly. So if you have to get away from a conflict really quickly, or you're looking to travel down to the planet. So when you get to a planet, you'll get to a certain point and you'll be 300
Landing
kilometers
complete.
away from
Launch complete.
the planet, and you have to afterburn down because there's no
Landing complete.
yeah, so hydrogen is the afterburners, and the quantum fuel is the quantum fuel is the fuel you use to jump between points. A quantum jump. You have to. So quantum fuel is shown here, 580. Every ship starts with a different amount of quantum fuel. So if you've got a little fighter, you might have less than this, or if you've got a huge freighter, like there's some capital ships and stuff which might have thousands of quantum fuel. But they also use a fair amount of quantum fuel when they do their jumps. So it's depending on what ship you have. This is your hydrogen fuel up here, your amount. So you start with 100, and you can see mine's gone down to 97. So what we'll do now is we will point towards Crusader, which I think, and we will bring up our Moby glass and pick Crusader and go set as destination. Okay, so Crusader is over there, and it's dark. You can actually see the planet. It's in front of us, but it's obscured by the sun. So the sun has orbits. There's a real orbit system in this game. So if the planet's on the dark side of the sun, you can only see the dark ring of the planet. So it's quite scary when you come to land on a dark planet. You got to take it really slow. Okay, let's just go back into the internal view, and let's just quantum fuel towards
Quantum drive is now on.
Crusader, and you saw I had 580 quantum fuel, so you'll sort of see when I get to the other end how much quantum fuel I use. So every jump that you do is a different amount of quantum fuel is used. So you can see I didn't use any quantum fuels. It's a very close jump. Let's go to what's this? I'm going to go back to that space station and land, and I think that's where I'll end this video. So Port Olisar is the station. So you just got to try and find it, so that if you hold down the left mouse button, you can rotate up and down and turn around, and if you hold down the right mouse button, you can move it up and down and left and right. So you got to get yourself into a position where you can see the space station, set as destination, and let's go back out of our Moby glass. Now we've just got to sort of shuffle around and see if we can find it. There should be actually it might be obscured by the planet, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is going to happen from time to time. You get obscured by the planet. You have to. It means it's on the other side of the planet. So as you can see, we're almost. See, we're too close to the planet to actually make it there. So what we're going to do is just go set destination back as the planet, and then we'll have some nav points going around the planet. So there's a nav point here which we can just quantum jump to. So you just got to line yourself up, hold the B, and the quantum drive will spool up, and you can see the cool effects on the outside external camera of flying towards this nav beacon. It's really cool. Okay.
Is now off.
So now let's see on the map, which is the fourth little pip down the bottom left hand side of the screen here, to see if we're in the. So I think we'll be able to reach Port Olisar now. Rotate the camera a little bit until we can see the little station down there. There it is. And set as destination. Okay. let's turn the camera around, rotate it with the mouse. So the mouse does all the driving up and down and left and right, like so you move, and the WSA and D key does all the accelerating, decelerating, and strafing. So it's just basically like a first-person shooter. So treat it the same way, but you're in space in a spaceship. So you can still see the planet there, the dark ring of the planet. I think the sun will be on the other side. Just head towards Port Olisar. It's not very far away, so I really love the effects that you get inside the ship with the quantum jumping. It's really quite cool. You can hold down the Z key and you can look around your cockpit. You can look to a certain extent, so it's basically just like your head tracking. Okay, so let's fly towards Port Olisar. And we're currently 5,000 meters away, so get to about 1,000 meters or so. I like to slow down to about 50% or so. So you can see the landing pads down there. Actually, I think when I get to about 2,000 meters, I like to slow down. So I'll slow down a little bit to about 20% thrust, and then I can bring up the mobi-glass to select the first pip again and ask for a landing permission.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
And they'll give you a landing bay. Should come up when your gear should come up with a little. So there it is, right in front of us. So a little triangle, downward triangle with the line and the box around the landing pad. So they actually tell you which landing pad you need to head towards. You see there's actually a couple of players here with their ships out on the pads, which is cool. Okay, let's go to this external camera. Okay, so there we go. We are landed, and now you just press
Landing
5.
complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Turn your power back off. So 5 is a hotkey to turn the power off, basically. Turn the system off. So you can do it down here through the holding of the F key and turn everything on if you like, if you know, if that's your thing. I just like pressing F5 just to get rid of the. It's just a quick key, like a hotkey, and 4 is the engine power. So you can press 5, which I've just done, and you can see down here is my engine. It means my engines are on. If I press 4, engines will turn off, so I can't actually go anywhere. So, and if I press 5, it turns all the power off. So just got to look over to the left or to the right, depending on if it'll let me, and then just hover over the exit and it'll exit out of the cockpit. And because this is really dark, I'll just turn the torch on. So there is a co-pilot seat. You can have a co-pilot operate some of the systems for you while you're flying. They can be your gunner or something, or manage your shields while you concentrate on the flying. You can have someone adjust the power to give more power to the engines or more power to the shields, depending on what your situation required. There's also 2 bunks, and there's a turret. So there's a turret you can get into, so you can have 3 people in your ship, one being the co-pilot, you being the pilot, and a gunner in the turret, which is pretty cool. Let's just hop out of our ship. Just open the door, the ramp lowers, and yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the your first look at Star Citizen. If you're seeing this for the first time, welcome, and I'll be doing a series of videos, tutorials, and options and things you can do in the game at the moment. Now, it's in the Access Alpha at the moment, so I'm going to end this video here, and hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, give me a like, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and I'll probably put some more videos up. Okay, thank you.